Good evening, everyone. We have Thursday night, Division 2, round of 16 playoffs. Two solid teams, both right in the middle of the playoff standings tonight. The number 8 seeded Division 2 FTS at 5-3 this season, and the number 9 seeded, also 5-3, the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit. Both teams were successful last week in their round of 27 games, and here we are, both teams advancing to the round of 16. This isn't the first time these guys have played each other. Earlier this season, FTS and Trump played a best-of-3 series that FTS won 2-0. So we will see if that has any bearing on the outcome of this game. Both teams are almost here and should have our map selection very soon. A couple interesting things to note in the draft. ETC had some changes that a lot of people feel knocked him way down in the effectiveness. So I know the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit in particular would certainly run ETC. So we will see if the changes to him take him out of the games today. Also, anytime Chair League has a new hero come out, they are immediately available for any games upon release. That means Cassia is available tonight, should either team decide to pick her. So in a best-of-3 in Chair League, the away team, which is today's number 9 seeded, the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, they will get map choice in games 1 and games 3, whereas the home team, FTS, will get map choice in game 2. And of course, if the opponent gets map choice, you get first pick. So FTS will have first pick, first ban in games 1 and 3, with Trump getting it in game number 2. So we are officially at game time. They didn't realize we were going at 7:50, not 8, so we're running a couple minutes behind. It's no big deal. Tomb of the Spider Queen will be the selection for game 1. Tomb of the Spider Queen, although it is a 3-lane map, it is one of the smallest maps. The lanes are very close together. Rotations and wave clear, very important. Globals, not quite as, because of the size of the map. And now that we have the lobby created, I'm waiting for both teams to join us, and then we will hit the start button. My initial impressions of Cassia, since she is available for this game, is that she does a lot of damage. Very susceptible to lockdown, though. I mean, most heroes are, but because of the nature of her trait, Cassia in particular is more susceptible to hard CC than other heroes are. So we do have members trickling in right now. All of the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit is here, and members of FTS coming in as well. If I can figure out my Discord here, I might try to get in an after game interview, but my Discord's been a little wonky lately, so I don't know if we're going to do. All right, both teams here. Just going to set up the banners, the team captains for each side, and then we will be hitting the start button for a best of 3 Division 2. Winner goes on to the round of 8, the quarterfinals of the Division 2 playoffs, fighting for the much coveted gray Chair League Championship t-shirts. Alrighty, looks like everybody is ready to go, and we are hitting the start button. Just waiting for the ready from FTS so we can get this thing going. All right, the start game button has been pressed, and welcome to Tomb of the Spider Queen, FTS, first pick, first ban. Typically, right now you're seeing Lucio's knocked out in this spot, Ragnaros commonly knocked out in these top spots. However, the meta is in a pretty good place right now, and there's a lot of viable heroes. And in a situation like this where both teams have played each other already and there are replays and casts out there of both teams, I'm sure these guys have done a little bit of homework, they might know a little bit about one another. So it is possible we will see targeted bans even in game 1. Down to 20 seconds for this first ban for FTS. And they are targeting Diablo, and that has got to be exactly what that is, because you're not seeing a lot of first ban Diablo. So I am willing to throw a nickel out there that Diablo is a targeted ban. They know that Trump likes themselves some Diablo, and are going to take that away from them. I am really curious to see where ETC is taken, if at all, where he's prioritized. Because I've played him a little bit, and that hit point nerf is noticeable for sure. He cannot hold a front line nearly as well as he could before. He has to do a lot more bobbing and weaving, kind of moving in and out of the front line. And then due to the nature of the way his new trait works, you kind of want to stagger your abilities out every 2 seconds to keep that armor up for as long as possible. I will tell you when that HP nerf is really noticeable with ETC is when you're behind a level or 2. It's really, really noticeable. I think ETC is really going to struggle with his team behind in level now. Zool is the ban for Trump. Zool is the master of rotating between 2 lanes and clearing quickly, and that is very valuable on Tomb of the Spider Queen. FTS wasting no time in taking one of the 2 top supports currently in Hero of the Storm in Malfurion. The other one, probably Lucio right now. Malfurion, though, has his lawn, hard CC, solid volume heals, 2 good heroic abilities. Although in competitive, you do tend to see Twilight Dream significantly more than you will see Tranquility, but both are perfectly viable. 2 picks now for the real ultimate mosh pit. I expect to see at least one hero with very good wave clear coming here, as that is just so very valuable on Tomb of the Spider Queen. ARTHAS and Rhaegar, so getting the tank and the support and leaving those 3 flexible picks able to respond to anything that FTS throws their way. ARTHAS is in a really good spot right now, and with ETC's nerf until they retweak him a little bit, which I think they will, I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of ARTHAS. He was in a good spot even before, but now with people feeling like ETC has fallen off, ARTHAS is going to be one of the tanks that's going to pick up the slack with regards to making appearances in more games. So get ready to see more of ARTHAS, folks. Something we could see with an ARTHAS is a Leoric. Leoric is a pretty solid counter to ARTHAS because he doesn't have to get close to his frozen aura there that ARTHAS puts out. If he can land that Drain Hope on it, ARTHAS has very low mobility, and Leoric can just burn him off of that front line. So Leoric is a possibility here for FTS. And they go with a GUL'DAN and a Johanna. So wave clear, wave clear, wave clear. One of the mages with the best wave clear was GUL'DAN, certainly. Johanna, one of the best tanks at clearing out waves. So you can see already FTS prioritizing clearing out all of those spider minions, getting the gems for the turn-in. Ban now going to the real ultimate mosh pit. With the support and tank already chosen for FTS, there's no role left for the Trump to choke out here. And actually the same can be said of FTS. Neither side has a role that they can choke out to the other. So you're just looking at a hero that you don't want to see. Or like I said, these teams do know each other a little bit. So maybe something the other team likes to run that you just want to keep away from them. 7 seconds left for Trump. Going to see that pick here very soon. And looks like that ban is going to be Falstad. Falstad, I think it's overlooked on Tomb of the Spider Queen a lot. Personally, I love playing Falstad on Tomb of the Spider Queen because once he gets to 7, he can clear those lanes really quick, and you can build up his seasoned marksman really, really fast. And the way, if he does that, he scales really hard, and by the late game does a lot of damage. The last time I played Falstad on Tomb of the Spider Queen, I had 84 stacks of seasoned marksman at the end of the game, and you just absolutely melt people. Not only that, as Gust is an absolute playmaker. So a good ban there by the ultimate mosh pit, keeping Falstad out of FTS's hands. Could have been a targeted ban too, like I said. These teams have played each other. And there is casts out there where these two teams could have done their homework on one another. And looks like FTS is going to ban out the Tyrael. Tyrael is always a solid hero, and I think he's overlooked sometimes. He's just such a good enabler. He has slows for his opponents, speed boost for his own team, shields for his own team. Sanctification, when used properly, is absolutely a game-changing heroic. And I would go out on a limb and say Holy Ground is the single most impactful talent that's not a level 10 or 20. Holy Ground at 16 is incredible. So we will not be seeing Tyrael in round 1 of our best of 3 series. 2 picks now for Trump. I imagine we're going to see a second frontliner and some kind of range damage, and that would leave their last pick as a flex pick, where they could really pick anything they wanted to. So that's what I expect to see coming out, some kind of range damage and maybe a second frontliner. Well, I was half right. We did get range damage. And we got that in the form of Lunara, and then we got an Executioner in the form of GREYMANE. So a lot of damage coming out now from Trump all of a sudden. And with their current team composition, you would expect their last pick to be another melee hero with some hit points, but you don't know. There's all kinds of different things they could go here with all of their major bases covered already. Last 2 selections for FTS. same thing I would expect to see from them. Neither side really has a solo laner right now. So maybe a solo laner coming out from FTS here, and possibly the same from Trump for their last selection. Or at least nobody you would prefer to as a traditional solo laner anyway. There's a couple of heroes that can to it. And there's the Leoric that I mentioned. Leoric is a really nice counter to Arthas. I really like that pick. I also really like the TYCHUS pick, a very traditional comp from FTS, a pure tank in Johanna, kind of a bruisery tank in Leoric. You have auto attack damage from TYCHUS, ability damage from GUL'DAN, and one of the top 2 healers in the game in Malfurion. A really nice, well-rounded comp. Plenty of damage, plenty of hit points, plenty of wave clear. Just a solid, balanced composition put together there by FTS. Trump now has one more pick that they need to make here. The other thing we need to think about, Johanna has been kind of pegged as that anti-AA tank, and Lunara and GREYMANE are going into that. So blinds coming out from Johanna there. I think you have to get a bruiser from Tomb of the Spider, or I'm sorry, from the real Ultimate Mosh Pit here. That's really what I expect to see to round out their composition. And Sonya it is. So your 2 solo laners will probably be Sonya and Leoric, I would guess. Johanna so good at bouncing from lane to lane. She's really great as a tank for clearing and rotating, clearing and rotating. And then when these 2 teams come together as 5, it's going to be Leoric's job to push Arthas out of that front line with the Drain Hope. So big something to look for here in this game is how often Leoric is hitting his Drain Hopes. If Leoric is hitting his Drain Hopes, it is going to be a long day for Arthas. Love, love, love the portrait synergy here. We have the March of the Murlocs from FTS and the real Ultimate Mosh Pit sporting 4 ETCs with Team Captain Dengstrom supporting the Master ETC portrait. So the blue team will be FTS. We will have Hiram on GUL'DAN, Zazu on Johanna, Neuroterran on Malfurion, Malbrian on Leoric, and Dark Link on TYCHUS. In the red trunks this game, the real Ultimate Mosh Pit or Trump, we have Dengstrom on Sonya, Rolf the Dog on Lunara, Minra on Rhaegar, Judge Bread on Arthas, and P-Tom on GREYMANE. I think the 4-man rotations will favor FTS with Johanna and GUL'DAN. The 2 of those will be able to melt. I don't know, Grants. I don't know what FTS stands for. But Johanna and GUL'DAN will absolutely be able to melt a wave before simply rotating to the next lane over. Typically on Tomb of the Spider Queen, you're going to see the solo laners operating in the bottom lane, while each team sends their respective 4-mans mid and top. Both teams here opted to go for kind of traditional comps, tank, off tank, range damage, and a support. So it's going to come down to execution. Tomb of the Spider Queen is one of the more snowbally maps. If you can get the first turn in and then control the middle of the map, deny the other team the ability to turn in, you can really control this. And then as the team that's fallen behind in that case, you're carrying around these just bags full of gems, which forces you to be more conservative than maybe you want to, because you can't lose those gems in a team fight. So definitely one of the more snowbally maps in Heroes. Here is the traditional 5-on-5 skirmish with nothing happening. Teams content just to fill each other out. The scouting drone and the Lunara Wisp just stared at each other, and so far the only casualties of this game have been a Wisp and a scouting drone. And here we go. Now we get a little action. Both teams thrown out a little bit of damage and nothing doing. So Leoric already rotating down to bottom. Sonya will join him, and that will be a battle that we will check in from time to time. Zazu anchoring nicely as Johanna. And here is the FTS rotation that I'm talking about. They are going to do this very quickly. I think the first part of this game might be a little bit anticlimactic as these two teams clear and rotate, clear and rotate. I don't think you're going to see too much action until one team tries to force the turn-in, unless somebody grossly steps out of place here. And with both of these very solid teams, I think that's unlikely for somebody to get themselves grossly out of position. And here we can see the 4-man rotation from both teams, currently dead even. So let's take a little quick poke in the bottom lane after these minion waves are cleared out. In the bottom lane, it looks like O'Brien and Dengstrom are kind of probably going to fight each other even. That Drain Hope will be canceled by the healing of Whirlwind. They are completely ignoring each other and taking out their frustrations on the poor minion wave. And the 4-man rotation, very crisp for both teams. Wisps and scouting drones going out and then destroyed in the rotations. Oh, Dengstrom coming up, maybe trying to get a pick here. He cleared a little faster than Leoric, and Sonya was able to make a cameo in the top lane here before rotating down and not missing any soak. So Sonya here winning the bottom lane a little bit, and that she's clearing faster, and that will allow her the freedom to go ahead and visit her teammates in the mid lane should she choose to do so. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the talents for anybody that's interested. So it looks like ARTHAS went his W quest at level 1, something to keep an eye on. That, of course, is a 3-tiered quest. It's at 5, 15, and 25, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. ARTHAS is very low, as is Johanna. Tanks doing their job and soaking the majority of the damage. When we come out of that engagement, the ones that were the lowest were, of course, the tanks. And another poor scouting drone bites the dust. However, in the bottom lane, a very low health O'Brien makes a big 1v1 kill of Dengstrom for the first thing in the blood of the game. P-Tom, however, he senses where Leoric is, throws in a cocktail, will not be able to finish the job though. Good aggression by P-Tom, driving Leoric out of lane, but now he has visitors in the form of Mouth, TYCHUS, and Leoric quickly runs behind his own walls to stay safe. So a little bit of dragging action, however, in the top lane, Trump getting very aggressive to counteract the rotation from FTS here. If that Howling Blast would have landed on GUL'DAN, they might have been able to finish him off. However, just missed that of Judge Bread there. And now the solo laners are back. The 4-man rotation is back. And nothing to see here, folks. Everybody resume what you were doing. Experience dead even. Gems slightly in favor of FTS simply because of the Sonya death. So what that means is now that FTS has turn-in, it's going to force Trump to go on the defensive and goaltend these turn-in points. Leoric, however, is turning in bottom, and he is able to get his gems in. There are only 10 left needing to turn in for FTS, and they certainly have those 10 gems. I think P-Tom wants to check the turn-in. In the bottom, once again, Sonya and Leoric. It's the never-ending conflict in the bottom lane. So far, the current score, O'Brien 1 and Dengstrom nothing. Blue team does manage to get the turn-in in the top. First turn-in going to FTS. Johanna using the Iron Skin and does what Johanna does. Simply walk the other direction, and she knows she will be just fine. I usually find I don't have time to specifically talk too much about talents in-game. However, I am going to try to pop it up there every couple of minutes for those of you who are curious, and leave it up there for a little bit. Hopefully not in the middle of team fights, so it doesn't interfere with the action on screen when we get it. So far, not too much structural damage with the turn-in. However, they have pulled out about a half-level lead, they being FTS, about a half-level lead from this first turn-in. Sonya safely defending behind her wall on the bottom. 4-man rotation driving them away. And it looks like Trump will not need to rotate down, with only a Leoric pushing with this. His bottom spider will not do much. Now Trump, what they want to do here is, since they are a slightly behind in experience, they want to get a turn in before FTS hits level 10.
The clutch is ready to form again. Return the gems to me.
Looks like they're trying to get ARTHAS' 23 gems turned in on the bottom. Leoric will not interrupt. He was about a second late, and now Leoric a little far forward. Stunned from the Sonya, and now the score is Dangstrom 1 with a little help from his friends, and Marlbrian 1. With Leoric's death and the aggressive zoning from Trump, for a second turn-in of the game, first one for Trump has been secured, and this very, very tight game will continue. I know FTS is going to get their heroics here very soon, and they do. So Trump is going to have to be very careful and avoid fighting until these 10s are picked up. We have Horrify from GUL'DAN, Blessed Shield from Johanna, Twilight Dream from Malfurion, Entomb from Leoric, and TYCHUS being a little bit cheeky and holding his level 10. Trump has also reached theirs. We have Leap from Sonya, Leaping Strike from Lunara, so a lot of leaping coming out from Trump, Ancestral Healing from Rhaegar, Army of the Dead from ARTHAS. Rhaegar goes down, and Cursed Bullet from GREYMANE. Twilight Dream hits 2, both teams fairly low. Dangstrom a little bit late to the party. Only member of either team to fall so far was Rhaegar. However, while that fighting was going on, the Web Weaver continues to push down bottom lane with 1 turn-in for each team. Only 3 deaths so far combined, 8 minutes into the game. No forts have been taken down, so eventually something here is going to break loose. One of these teams is going to get a big team fight win, and as these death timers get longer, one of these teams is going to take control of this game. And now we are certainly past the laning phase here, and both teams have grouped into 5 and are roaming around the map in a death ball. Neither team has, I'm sorry, I take that back. Both teams have turn-in, so it's a matter of who gets this turn-in first, or maybe who gets the first kill. Piton going very aggressive on GREYMANE. He is caught in the Malfurion roots. However, clutch Ancestral Heal by Minra on Rhaegar there. Excellent Horrify, and Lunara and Leoric both die almost simultaneously. And there was a whole lot of everybody press their R buttons going on that fight. Odin, though, doing work, forcing Trump back, and maybe, just maybe, that will be enough for FTS to secure the turn-in, using the ranged damage that Odin puts out to force back Trump. Now, we did have TYCHUS holding his heroic earlier when we went over them. Well, he has chosen, folks, and he chose wisely, using Commandeer Odin to really take control of the end of that team fight. I will say both of these teams not overcommitting to the engagements when they lose the team fights. They're not losing them hard. They're simply willing to back up and let things develop. So good patience out of both teams really here. Judge Dredd caught in an Entomb and a Blessed Shield and a Root. And with Army of the Dead on cooldown, his sustainabilities really weren't there to keep him alive. I'm sure a Drain Hope was in there as well. So ARTHAS caught out, and he is picked off by FTS. So there is finally the first structure of the game falls, and that is Trump's top lane fort. Sonya is in the bottom split soaking, trying to make up as much of that experience deficit from the kills and structures that are currently favoring FTS, doing a nice job of it because the level and experience is very close. Lunara taking a good amount of damage. Hanging in there, poking as best she can, though. Just waiting for those Malfoots to kick in. Dangstrom, 4-man leaps out of the Entomb. And an Ancestral Heal keeping his teammates up. Minra on Rhaegar has really been on the spot with those Ancestral Heals. Marlbrian on Leoric, very low, and GREYMANE not quite able to finish it off. Lunara goes down, and Leoric goes down. The same thing I said, I swear, just 1 minute ago. The same two heroes. However, Odin has his sights locked in on GREYMANE down to 120 hit points. Rhaegar able to keep him up. Dangstrom on Sonya trying to peel less than 100 hit points. Finally, Sonya goes down, and a 2-4-1 team fight win for FTS. You know, so far in these full team engagements, it certainly looks like FTS is having a little bit more success than their opponents. It seems like Trump is having a little bit of a hard time sustaining through. The TYCHUS and the GUL'DAN just put out so much damage. We're going to check that really quick just to see. So TYCHUS at 32, GUL'DAN at 27. Lunara and GREYMANE are actually higher than that. So just kind of looking at the numbers, which certainly don't always tell the full story, the numbers should suggest that the damage is pretty close. But watching these team fights, it seems like that Trump is just unable to sustain for very long. Maybe that's a reflection of the backliners of Trump. Lunara and GREYMANE are a little bit squishier than the backliners of TYCHUS and GUL'DAN. Oh, Lunara caught a little far forward. Johanna on pursuit with the Condemn and the Punish. The slow, she is going very deep, and the blind 2-man root from Malfurion with a 3-man silence Twilight Dream, and great damage from GUL'DAN, not able to secure a kill, but Trump in full retreat. So no kill secured, however, 2 heroics used on the part of FTS. They are doing everything they can to keep Trump from turning in. This might be the opportunity for Trump to get aggressive here, as they have more heroics readily available than their opponents do. P-Tom goes full ham onto Malfurion, combined with a leap from Sonya, and Malfurion is not one for this world anymore. GUL'DAN and Rhaegar going down, as does Leoric, so a 3-4-2 in favor of Trump this time. And Judge Bread trying to sneak the turn in, and he is about a half a second off. Although 3 members are alive for Trump, they are simply don't have the hit points to engage, while Johanna and TYCHUS are very alive and very healthy. So 2 living members of FTS able to drive off 3 very low health members from Trump. So probably their first decisive team fight win from Trump there. However, unable to capitalize. Judge Bread trying to be a little bit cheeky and sneak in his 36 gem turn-in, and he is going to do it. Well played by Judge Bread. Just kind of slipping between the cracks there and sneaking a turn-in for his team. Both teams now have secured 2 turn-ins, and this very close, very entertaining Game 1 continues merrily along its way. So it looks like 5 members of Trump will decide to take out the bottom fort here, and this will probably be the first fort loss from FTS. FTS content to let this one go while they clean up mid, and now they are going into aggressive flanking position, ready for the engage. However, FTS is split. Johanna by herself. I think this is a little bit of a miscommunication here, because her whole team is not with her. Yeah, members of FTS, I think a little bit of a miscommunication right there, and they opt to simply clean up the mess in bottom lane rather than engaging in a split fashion like that. Trump now trying to secure the second fort of this turn, and that top fort is gone, so no doubt 2 forts destroyed by Trump here. Dangstrom very low, Ancestral keeping going. Minra just has been Johnny on the spot with Ancestrals this whole game. However, Lunara and GREYMANE both go down. Leoric is on the pursuit. Sonya goes down. 3 for none. decisive team engagement here. Are they going to target boss and turn in? That would be my move. If I am FTS, I am grabbing boss, and then I am turning in for a boss turn-in push that will really put Trump on their back heels. With 20 seconds left before most of the rest of the team is up, there's really not much Trump can do about this. There's the boss secured, turn-in already secured, and Trump, I think, in a little bit of trouble for the first time this game. And FTS, that team battle may be the decisive moment in this game because it is currently them in the driver's seat. Going to put a lot of pressure onto Trump. The goal here of FTS is they really want to try to take down this top keep. And the goal of Trump here is if they can keep all of their keeps up and alive, that will be a massive win for them, a huge defense. And the Tomb Spider, oh, the stun from the boss collects 2 members of Trump with Arthas and Sonya going down. The front line is gone. GREYMANE isolated by the Entomb. They are putting all of their damage into Leoric, and then the Horrify keeps him alive. This may be game with a Spider Queen and a boss pushing in. Commandeer Odin was just popped. FTS is going for the jugular, and that will be game 1. A largely close game throughout. However, that 3-0 team fight win from FTS just a minute ago allowed the boss and the turn-in, and that, of course, ultimately led to the game 1 victory for FTS. Congratulations to them, but this series is not over. It is a best of 3, and it is now FTS's map selection. And let's see where they decide to go for this round 2. Of course, FTS wins this game too. They have won the series. And if Trump manages to, we will go to a decisive winner-take-all game 3 with only one of these teams advancing to the Division 2 quarterfinals next week. So while we are waiting for the map selection for game 2, I really think that was a case of the damage, as Rhaegar wasn't able to keep up. So we were going to Infernal Shrines, and that's not a knock on Minra. I actually thought he played really well. I called out a number of times a couple of clutch Ancestrals. It just seemed like his team health bars were melting too fast for Rhaegar to keep up with the healing. And even though Trump, during that game, did take a couple of team fights, they were never able to decisively win one. It was a 1-0 or a 3-2, whereas the one really decisive fight of the game that happened top was a decisive win for FTS, and they were able to roll that team fight win ultimately into the game. All right, so game 2 will be on Infernal Shrines. And of course, this time it will be the real ultimate mosh pit that has first pick and first ban. Getting both teams into lobby here. And as soon as they are, we'll get game 2 going. Infernal Shrines, very different strategically from Tomb of the Spider Queen, of course, mostly because it's so much larger. I really like Infernal Shrines because there's so many different approaches to the map. You know, you could give the first Punisher and try to double soak lanes. There's mercenaries to get because of the size of the map. Split pushing is a possibility. So even when you're down excuse me, even when you're down in level or losing on Infernal Shrines, there's always something to do to influence the map or the game. And that's one of the reasons I really like Infernal Shrines. And that's, I think, also one of the reasons you see it in the pro scene so much, is the decision making that's just possible on here. All right, everybody here is in, and just waiting for the thumbs up from both teams. Make sure we don't have any player stepping away for a glass of water or whatever. And both teams have given me the thumbs up, and here we go. Welcome to Infernal Shrines Game 2 of our Division 2 playoffs. Both of these teams, as I mentioned pre-game, had identical 5-3 regular season record. They did play once during the regular season, with FTS securing a 2-0 win. So far, these two teams have played 3 times in Chair League this season, and FTS has won all 3 of them. So Trump here hoping to reverse the trend and force a decisive Game 3. First ban, Falstad. It must be a respect Falstad ban. When these guys have played each other as much as they have, and with there's so much Chair League casting going on, there are no doubt casts available for each of these teams to watch each other. So one of the neat things is when you start to play Chair League so much and you get these longer series and you get to know these other teams, another level to drafting is not just banning for the meta or banning for the map, but banning for the player. And that is the second time that FTS has banned Diablo. I have to think that that's a targeted ban at Trump. And Trump banning Falstad, much more meta on Shrines than Tomb, but Falstad I really think is always good, and always a good ban generally. I mentioned the ETC nerf, and we did not see ETC Game 1. That is the first game I have casted in Chair League in a long time where ETC was not picked or banned. It's very unusual. So definitely people are wary of the changes to ETC. And the couple games I've played with him, I can understand why, because you can't hold the front line like that. And once again, Trump grabbing an ARTHAS. So we have to see if Leoric's going to come out from FTS again. I have to think if they're going to want Leoric, they're going to have to grab it now, because it would not surprise me that if FTS doesn't take that Leoric now, that Trump will ban it in the mid-ban. So 2 picks now coming for FTS. Malf wouldn't surprise me once again. He was so good last time. I am surprised, actually, now that I think about it, that we didn't see Lucio from Trump. I don't know if they have a Lucio player, but Lucio and ARTHAS really pair nicely together. And post 16, I think you're going to get, I know you're going to get more healing out of Lucio than you get out of Rhaegar. So we'll see if Trump makes an adjustment there. So far, though, this Game 2 draft, very similar to Game 1, and there's the first curveball. So Malfurion Sonya selected. Sonya can, one of the heroes that can just kind of solo the Shrine Guardians for the Punishers. She's really good on Shrines. So I don't think we're going to see Leoric with Sonya, or at least I would be surprised, because they're kind of going to occupy a little bit of that same bruiser role. Well, as soon as I spoke, Lucio pairing up with ARTHAS and ZARYA. So I really like both of those selections from Trump. A really different flavor from their last draft. And ARTHAS, with a lot of his talents, ARTHAS can get on somebody. He can really just hold them there. And so Lucio giving him the speed boost, and ZARYA shields can really make ARTHAS kind of borderline unkillable. So I really like both of those selections from Trump. FTS now on the clock for their ban. They still need a second frontliner, I would guess. Trump does, so a Dahaka ban would not surprise me. They also need, well, I take that back. They don't need another tank because they already have the Zarya, so maybe not Dahaka. Kael'thas is a good choice. His zoning on the shrines is very good. Phoenix, Living Bomb. This is one of the maps that Kael'thas really can shine on, but he will not be shining this game with the ban coming out from FTS. Now Trump has their turn here. Primary tanks are available. Johanna was used to good effect, and she is good on shrines, so maybe we see a Johanna ban. Muradin, I guess possible. We don't really see much of him anymore, but he is still really, really solid. Leoric is still out there, although once again, I don't think they would go a Leoric and Sonya together. That's a little light in the Peels department. And Trump, I think, not really deciding too. They're really going deep into the time pool, debating the options available to them. And they do go Johanna. I think that's a nice solid ban. You obviously know FTS plays her. They need a tank. She's good on shrines. All of that makes perfect sense. So a very reasonable ban coming out from Trump there. 2 selections now and a near insta-lock on the Jaina from FTS. 1 more selection needed. I imagine we're going to see their main tank here. And not a lot of options on the board. Muradin is still out there as mentioned, but Diablo has been banned. ETC, I think people are scared to grab him right now, but he is still out there. And ETC, Malf, and Jaina pair really, really well together. Those 3 in particular synergize so well together. Anubarak is still out there, however, I would be leery to pick him simply because Trump hasn't selected their main source of damage yet, and if they did, they would just get auto attack damage to chunk to a noob. So they go with the TYCHUS. So once again, varying the damage, ability damage from Jaina, auto attacks from TYCHUS, and their 5th pick is definitely going to be some kind of primary tank. Leaving 2 selections here from Trump. You're definitely going to get your primary range damage dealer here. And after that, I mean, they could do any number of things that they wanted to. A second frontliner, another ranged, all kinds of different options. Kerrigan is still out there, and Infernal Shrines for a long time was absolutely Kerrigan's map. And with Zarya shields, she really, I think, could shine. So I would like that Kerrigan pick if they decided to go that way. Like a Kerrigan and a GUL'DAN maybe would make some sense. The drama, Vala Chromie. So not remotely where I was going at all. Vala, of course, will be empowered by the Zarya, allow her to be a little bit more aggressive. Chromie with the slowing stands on this map. I normally prefer Temporal Loop. On Infernal Shrines, though, in particular, Slowing Sands is just such a spectacular zoning tool. And with ARTHAS and Slowing Sands, that would give a huge area of control for Trump to guard the approaches to the shrines themselves. So no real way to dive on the Chromie as currently constructed other than a Sonya Leap for FTS, and they do need a primary tank. I think we're going to see an Anubarak or a Muradin would be my guess. Maybe, I guess we could go Varian, but I just don't think that would work with the Zarya shields to counteract his lockdown blow-up style that you normally see with a Varian. And there's the Muradin. Yeah, I think it really had to be Muradin or Anubarak. I think maybe, though, the Vala auto attack maybe scared them off of the Anubarak a little bit. Anubarak is so good against mages, but he really does get chunked down from heroes that do a lot of auto attack damage. And I like the Muradin pick. Muradin is a rock. He's been a rock for a long time. He is always a solid selection. Really fits with any comp. No weaknesses. Does all kinds of stuff well. All right, here we are off to game number 2. Once again, the blue team today is FTF with Marl Bryan on Sonya, Zazu on Muradin, Hiram on Jaina, Neuro Terran on Malfurion, and Dark Link on TYCHUS. For the real ultimate mosh pit, Dankstrom switching from bruiser to primary tank playing ARTHAS, Rolf the Dog on Vala, Minra on Lucio, Judge Bread flipping frontline positions with Dankstrom, taking the off-tank of Zarya, and P-Tom completely switching styles, going from the ultra-aggressive Wolfman GREYMANE into the hide in the back line and be long-range artillery Chromie. Anytime there is a Chromie in the game, so much of that game comes down to how well that player is hitting their skill shots. If Chromie is hitting her skill shots, it puts a lot of pressure on the opposing team. And Jaina and Malfurion particularly vulnerable to Chromie damage. If either one of those heroes eats a W from Chromie, they have to back up. I mean, it chunks them down so far.
The battle begins in 10
So both teams, I assume, will run to the mid lane for the early game introductions. Typically, you're going to see teams skirmish, throw some abilities at each other, and that's pretty much it. Last game, this early game skirmish was particularly uneventful. Nothing happened. And it looks like this is going to be much of the same. And apparently the only thing in this game immune to Chromie's spells is a scouting drone. So Zarya and Sonya have already made their way to the top lane. Much like Tomb of the Spider Queen and many of the maps on Heroes, you're going to see a solo laner and then a 4-man rotation. So this game, it will be Sonya soloing against Zarya. Sonya will win this. Will win this lane. As you can see already, while the teams in the bottom go to a 4-man, with Jaina, they're going to win the 4-man as well. So I think early game lane advantage probably going to go to FTS. They're just going to be able to clear and rotate so quickly. And it looks like ARTHAS is going to make a cameo in the top lane, leaving only 3 squishy teammates from Trump in the bottom, so they need to be very careful. And this time, they're just switching out. They're going to let ARTHAS play with Sonya, while Zarya rotates to the bottom to join the 4-man. Probably a wise move. There is no way Zarya was going to be able to compete in any meaningful way with Sonya in the solo lane. ARTHAS will probably eventually lose that lane as well, but will lose it much slower than Zarya will. So the first shrine has spawned. It is in the middle lane. And hard rotation from FTS, seeing if they can pick one of these squishies, but nothing doing. Both teams go into the middle, and here is the first shrine of the game. The first shrine fight in Infernal Shrines, I think, is unique to Heroes. On Infernal Shrines, the objectives are so long. You need to kill 40 of those things. And the first objective is really one of the few times where you can lose a member of the early in the objective and still actually come back and win it, because the death timers are so short and the objective fight is so long that if you lose 1 or 2 early in this first shrine, it doesn't matter that much. Something that can go unnoticed, Dankstrom stayed in the top lane long enough to pick up the level 4 advantage first before coming down, and that's what allowed Trump, at least initially, to zone out FTS. And these teams are dead even, almost tied. Now they are tied exactly on Shrine Guardians. Chromie trying to steal some from a distance. This is going to be very close. 33-33. I mean, very close, and now it looks like Trump has secured it. That ARTHAS frozen aura that he puts out was the difference very late. So already, ARTHAS is going to the top to split soak. Both teams know that this first Punisher, even though it's the strong Arcane Punisher, does not do a lot of damage. Very nicely baited over the wall. However, it just walked past the Blizzard, so not getting that Blizzard damage does feel bad. But look at how quickly they burn it down with basically only the front wall lost. That's about what you'd expect. Nice job of Trump, though, rotating in lanes super quickly. And they have about a 3/4 level lead off the back of that very first Punisher. So well played in the early game by Trump, showing no ill effects of the game 1 defeat. You will now see teams start to pick up these merc camps here in the near future. One of the deciding factors on Infernal Shrines can be, and frequently is, which one of these teams times these merc camps better as counter pressure, because these camps, particularly the ones in the top lane, push really, really hard. So if you can force your opposition to choose between fighting on the shrine or clearing mercenaries out on the other side of the map, that's really what you want to be doing. And as we mentioned, the first mercenary camp of the game, FTS knows what's going on here. They can see Chromie trying to zone. Muradin looking to invade. They do get the stun on the Chromie, however, a little late. Zazu taking a lot of free damage, but he's a very hardy Muradin and no harm done. Simply walks away, and in about 15 seconds, he will be all healed up. However, mid lane, Dengstrom on Arthas is in trouble, and he becomes first blood, first pickoff of this game. This is the pressure I was talking about, though. Dengstrom will be up in time to contest this, and bottom mercenaries picked up by Trump, and now decisions have to be made by FTS. They have to clear out bottom before going to top, and that means that rather untimely death of Arthas really actually won't matter too much. You can already see he is on his way up, and he will be at this shrine ready to go with the rest of his team. Trump going to be able to take a small Shrine Guardian advantage early. Sonya and Malfurion in full retreat, then caught in a two-man route. Malfurion taking a ton of damage. Chromie already having her heroic at level 8. She did take Slowing Sands. Malfurion took a lot of damage there. Nobody died, though. So there's the zoning capability of Slowing Sands. And that's what I mentioned in the early game. If you put an Arthas out here and Slowing Sands, those two can control two of the really ways to enter here. However, Zarya very low, and Zarya and Muradin both going down. Teams trading frontliners. Dengstrom very low too. However, he will not go down. Sonya caught and Slowing Sands will. So Slowing Sands already making an impact. Trump, I expect to send more members onto the shrine momentarily, and they do. So early game advantage here with Trump, even though it's 2 kills to 2 kills, both of the instances where Trump has killed members of FTS, it was very timely for these shrine battles. And as a result, they will secure both the first and second John Cena's of this game too. They will have to, very, very good decision. I really like this move here from Trump. They're going to leave the shrines at 39. You can go pick up these mercenaries, and then you can simply wait for the mercenaries to catch up to the shrine, and you get like a super push. Not only are they going to get a super push, they're going to get a super push right as their level 10s are hitting. So really nice timing here. P-Tom wants to be a little careful on Chromie. You don't want to get a little crazy. So both teams have hit their heroics and level 10. We have Expulsion Zone on Zarya, Slowing Sands. There's the Expulsion Zone right in the gate. Muradin and Malfurion caught out. Malfurion goes down very quick. Muradin, was basically ignored, and he safely jumps over the wall. So Summon Syndragosa selected, and they're going to really push this thing in hard if they send out Syndragosa here. So is he saving it, or is he going to use it? It looks like he's saving it. They're content to let the Punisher do their work for him. They don't feel the need to shut this down. In the meantime, Leaf for Sonya, Ring of Frost for Jaina, Twilight Dream for Malf, Commandeer Odin for Malfurion, for TYCHUS, and Avatar for Muradin, and there's the Summon Syndragosa. They saved it for the keep defense, and this early game aggression coming out from Trump, isolating out the Muradin. FTS in full retreat, good cleanse on Muradin, however unable to get him. Unable to get him out alive. Ring of Frost does capture 2, however, first keep falling to a really well-executed push from Trump. There's so many things that went into getting basically a 9-minute keep. Not only did they secure the objective, but they waited to secure the objective and had the mercenaries come with it. I generally think Army of the Dead is the better heroic for ARTHAS. However, in this case, they used Summon Syndragosa with their super push and ensured they got an early game keep, and that's such a big deal. The first keep secured puts constant catapult pressure the rest of the game. And because the last shrine was in the top lane, it is very unlikely it will be there back-to-back, which means catapults will be pushing in top while FTS is forced to fight in another lane. And we never got a chance to go over the heroics for Trump here. So Sound Barrier for Lucio, Rain of Vengeance for Vala. There's a 4-man leap, and the Sound Barrier from Lucio saving his team. So many R buttons going down. Vala caught in the Ring of Frost. However, the shield from Judge Fred will keep her alive, at least temporarily. Oh my goodness, and Vala finally going down. Zarya as well. For a while there, it looked like that could have really gone either way. So first big team fight win for FTS will allow them to kind of take a breath and relieve some of the pressure on this map, because they're structurally down, they're down in levels a little bit, and it will be the mid lane Punisher that's next. FTS taking both mid and bot lane Merc camps, forcing Trump to respond to those. So take 3 with the heroics for Trump. Summon Syndragosa for ARTHAS, Rain of Vengeance for Vala, Sound Barrier for Lucio, Expulsion Zone for Zarya, and Slowing Sands for Chromie. You guys all knew that already because all of those have already been used. But if you were curious, there they are. So far, it looks like Trump will be content to ignore the mercs in the bottom lane. They decided that that fort is just not as valuable as the pressure they can get from this Punisher. And I tend to agree with them. If they secure their 3rd straight Punisher this game, it is going straight to keep. And with Summon Syndragosa and 2 keeps, there's the Leaf Ring of Frost combo. However, Sonya really only leapt to her death. Zarya joining him slowly. The Sound Barrier, though, doing so much work. And TYCHUS falls. Malfurion falls. Jaina is able to explode Lucio with a point-blank Cone of Cold, and then is immediately sniped by P-Tom on Chromie on the retreat. So lots of bodies everywhere, with Trump ultimately coming out successful. They will secure their 3rd straight Punisher. Vala in there doing her thing, securing the Guardians as best she can. I wonder if... I don't even think they need to leave this one. ARTHAS left to clear the bottom. And I think they're going to slow down a little bit just to give it their... Yeah, exactly. They're going to leave it at 39 again. And this time it will be to allow all members of their team to join them and get pressure in the top lane as well. So they're going to secure these top mercs one more time, leaving catapults and mercenaries to pressure the top lane while this Mortar Punisher pushes down the mid lane. And even though it's at 39, I mean, there's really nothing FTS can do to secure this. Muradin is in there, but it's just really delaying the inevitable at this point. So FTS back on their heels. Now, if I'm Trump here, I still don't secure it. I kill this Merc camp first and then secure it, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Really great patience out of Trump. And not only did they wait long enough to get the Mercs, they waited long enough to get 16 advantage. Finally, that was definitely a YOLO leap. Finally Trump taking the last Shrine Guardian, and John Cena marching with purpose down the mid lane. Summon Syndragosa is ready to go, and as soon as John Cena leaps, you're going to see Summon Syndragosa. Commandeer Odin is popped along the back line. Here comes the dragon. The front line burned down super quickly. Muradin taking a lot of damage, forcing Zazu back, and this mid keep will not survive this assault by Trump. 2 keeps down, Catapult and Mercs barreling down the top lane. John Cena wailing on the core. Trump perfectly content to retreat, take their gains, and control this map from here on out. They have such a structural lead right now that this game really is theirs to lose. If they play clean the rest of this way, clean and patient as they have been, they are in the driver's seat for game 2. And now they will take field trips all over Infernal Shrines to paint the map red. Every mercenary camp will belong to Trump, and FTS will be forced to clear lane after clearing lane after clearing lane. Now it looks like they're going to try to maybe even take a free fort. And with Sonya in the top lane, Trump knows that. She is coming now, but for the short term, Trump will have a man advantage. Are they going to commit to this or not? A little bit of hesitation. Yeah, they're going to commit to this. Nope. There goes the Dwarf Toss triple stun. And then there's the Sonya triple stun leap. Dangstrom is caught too far forward, and he is absolutely exploded. He was completely isolated out from his team. This could be the break that FTS needed. However, the Lucio speed boost gets Trump out of trouble with a hard disengage. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there, but Dangstrom went forward on ARTHAS while the rest of his team went backward, and he was just isolated so far out. However, you can see the pressure already on the core. Mercenaries, Katas, there's more coming in the top lane, so I mean, FTS is almost going to have to leave one person back at least part-time to do lane maintenance. It's going to be so hard for them to contest these shrines. Once Dangstrom is up, you're going to see Trump go hard into the shrine, especially as long as TYCHUS is visible in lane. Good positioning here. You can see Zarya out front, able to catch anybody that comes in, while the backliner's much, much further back. So nice Heroes 101 there, positioning from Trump. Now Dangstrom coming, and he will assume the forward position to protect his team. There's the Muradin. The Muradin stun Sonya leap combo is very effective, and 3 members caught in Ring of Frost. ARTHAS goes down with the sound barrier coming out just a little bit late. However, Sonya went down as well. 1 for 1, and the Rain of Vengeance catches Muradin, not able to finish him off. Judge Brett is so low. I would really like to see Trump back off here because the pressure on the core will force FTS back anyway. I mean, look at this group of minions. They're just aching to be killed. So you can see the FTS engagement strategy is Dwarf Toss stun with Muradin, and then follow that up with a Sonya stun leap. They've used it a couple times. Last time went much better. This time was a 1-for-1 trade. Muradin's going to have to go out and take a breather. His trait will heal him up in about 10 seconds here. P-Tom on Chromie taking a lot of damage from that Commandeer Odin. However, on the core, that top lane pressure is going to start making an effect soon. And now with 38 Guardians secured, once again, another Arcane Punisher will go to Trump. FTS has been unable to secure not one single Punisher this game. Kills are very close, level is very close, but the structures on the map, that's the tale of this game, and that's the result of all of the John Cenas that have been providing their services to Trump here. So the assault on FTS's last keep of the game begins. Summon Syndragosa goes out, however, it misses the keep. I'm not sure if that was intentional, if he was trying to catch the members of FTS instead. However, that keep is active and defending, and now John Cena decided that that gate needs to go, and he is working his way backwards to destroy the front wall rather than the keep. However, it doesn't matter. The leap onto Muradin, follow-up damage coming from Trump. FTS in full retreat. Those lasers from the Arcane Punishers do a lot of damage. This is going to be very close. 1 or 2 kills on the side of FTS will spell the end of this game. There's one of them. Malfurion goes down. Muradin soon to follow. However, Lucio, Zarya, Sonya all going down as well. Zangstrom as well. However, the whole time, John Cena wailing on the core, and now at 52%, 46, 45%, 36%, and now with 5 katas moving in and the core at 9%, this game is over. So a bloodbath in their Alamo moment for FTS left everything on the line, bodies everywhere, but ultimately Trump able to secure a very convincing Game 2 win. They captured every John Cena that entire game. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to Game 3. Game 3, the map will be decided by the real Ultimate Mosh Pit. And the winner of this Game 3 will, of course, advance to the Division 2 playoff quarterfinals. All right, so we are waiting for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit to decide their map 3. So although both games were fairly close and fairly entertaining, from about 2/3 of the way through Game 1, you kind of had the feeling that it was FTS's game to lose. And although they never really dominated Game 2, Trump controlled Game 2 pretty much from the first John Cena on through the rest of the game. So it looks like we will be going to Dragonshire for Game 3. So Dragonshire, not quite as much 5-on-5 fighting. The nature of the map objective kind of lends itself to a little more smaller skirmishing, as both teams have to man the points for the DK. Globals, very, very highly prioritized on Dragonshire due to the speed at which they can move from objective to objective. If you manage to get your hands on 2 globals, barring a team wipe, it can be almost impossible for the opposition to actually get their hands on a Dragon Knight. All right, so in here for decisive Game 3, oops, gotta switch the correct draft settings here. Okay, so one guy decided to take a quick little minute break between games, which is understandable. So as soon as both teams are ready, we will get this thing going. I can't tell you how much better It is casting Cherry League once they got the in-client tournament drafting. So much better. Not having to alt-tab out between to a third party and then send the links and something goes wrong. And it's just so much better. And the games move faster as well. So what are we going to see on Dragonshire? Well, in both games 1 and 2, Trump first banned Falstad. Certainly no reason to get away from that. I think you're going to see that Falstad ban coming out from Trump. Also, first ban from FTS has been Diablo in both Game 1 and Game 2. You have to wonder if they're going to stick to that. ARTHAS. ARTHAS has been clearly prioritized by Trump, and you see no reason why they wouldn't prioritize him again. You wonder if maybe they ban out ARTHAS instead of Diablo. We'll see. That's one of the fun things about these series that go multiple games, is watching the two teams adjust to one. Watching the two teams adjust to each other as the series goes on. All right, both teams ready to go, and we are clicking on Start Game. So welcome to Dragonshire for the decisive, the winner-take-all Game 3 of our round of 16 Division 2 playoff game. FTS and the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit. I mean, watching these games, they're very close. I would have been surprised, to be perfectly honest, if it didn't go to a Game 3. Both these teams have played very clean, and I think, in my opinion, the story of these games has been the complete absence of ETC. The nerfs to him showing, as neither team has shown they are comfortable taking him in his current state, and he has been completely absent from both games, not banned, not picked at all. And that's very unusual for competitive, for him to just be completely missing from the game like that. I don't know if I've had any games in Chair League this season where ETC is just completely off the map like that. So that's a radical shift in the meta that we're seeing here in this game right now. Once again, Diablo banned by FTS. They do not want Trump to get Diablo, and I imagine you're going to see Falstad being banned again. So this game has its own, there it is, Falstad again. So all three games, both teams banned Falstad and Diablo, neither one letting the other get their pet heroes. Our own mini meta in our series here. This time, however, FTS keeps ARTHAS away from Trump by first picking him themselves. That's what I was saying before this game started. ARTHAS has been clearly prioritized by Trump. Maybe they ban him out, and instead they first picked him. So they keep the Diablo out of Trump's hands, and they keep the ARTHAS out of their hands as well. For the first time, though, Malf will be readily available to Trump. You have to wonder if they grab Malf here to keep him away from FTS, or if they have something else in mind. Very curious to see what tank Trump will go for here. If they do not pick a tank here, guaranteed FTS is going to choke out that role even more with a second ban. So I think Trump should seriously consider picking their primary tank here to make sure they're not choked out on that role. And instead they go with Nazebo Lucio. So both Nazebo and Lucio are particularly strong late game, so the longer this game goes, especially with Nazebo, the more it will favor Trump. Nidus, my thoughts on 2.0 is it looks great. I'm very excited about it. I don't see what the hullabaloo was over the 70 chest limit. I don't really care about the master skins that much, and I'm a guy who has, I think, 24 of them or something. Theirs don't serve their purpose like they used to. Early in the game, I think they were more... Early in the game's lifespan, I think they were more important than they are now. And I kind of like that they opted for another way to show how high you are with that hero. I don't know if taunt is the way to go, but I do think there needs to be a way other than skins for you to demonstrate your dedication to your favorite heroes. No surprise, FTS going Malfurion. They have picked him all night long, continuing to do so now, and then going with GUL'DAN. So ARTHAS and Malfurion offering plenty of control in the form of hard CC, GUL'DAN offering plenty of damage, and really for their last two picks here, FTS can do almost anything they want. They've got their tank, they've got their healer, they've got their damage dealer, and now they can respond to whatever Trump throws their way. Trump is on the clock now for their second ban. I would like to see Trump maybe pick up Dahaka. However, they banned TYCHUS. That makes sense. They've been picking him all night. He's been doing a lot of work. Commandeer Odin has just been a thorn in the side of Trump these first two games, so they simply opt to remove him from the game. We are going to see a tank ban here from FTS, and there it is. I really like that ban, leaving kind of the only viable main tanks left is a noob, Johanna, and ETC, who clearly teams are not comfortable playing right now. So that leaves them the choice of Johanna, who's always solid, not spectacular, but solid, and a Nubarak, which may not be a bad choice. So far, plenty of ability damage on the side of FTS, so a Nubarak would be a good choice if they're forced to go that route. Still hovering that Muradin. They're talking about it. Haven't made it official yet, but it looks like that's the way that they're going to go. And I was wrong. They changed their mind at the last minute and went to a Zeratul ban. So Muradin now will be available for Trump should they want it. And now their next two picks for Trump. We're going to see the primary tank come out here, I would guess. And maybe ZARYA again. They really used her nicely, and she's in a really great spot right now. So a ZARYA tank picks wouldn't surprise me here. And then they can leave their fifth pick for a flexible option to either counter what FTS throws out there or further complement their own team composition. And there's the Zarya, but not the main tank. They opt to go Lucio instead. So high damage Li Ming, high damage Nazeebo, and Zarya, leaving their main tank for last. So no flex picking for Trump. That last pick will be a tank of some sort. FTS with two picks left, and they can go in so many different directions. Dahaka would really make a lot of sense here. They don't have their solo laner yet. He can man that top lane so very, very well, and the global is really good. Maybe some kind of auto attack damage to complement GUL'DAN would also make a lot of sense. GREYMANE and Lunara both still sitting out there. Vala still sitting out there. Sonya still available as an off tank if they wanted to go that direction. Would make a lot of sense as well. And we will find out right now. Instead, Alarak, Anubarak, triple melee, further isolating out the roles from Trump. Imagine if they would have banned out Muradin. There just would have been no tanks left for Trump. This pick is going to have to be Muradin or Johanna. I don't think there's really anybody left, unless I'm forgetting somebody that makes too much sense. So triple melee, Alarak, Anubarak, ARTHAS. With a solo ranged GUL'DAN. Interesting. I mean, I guess there's no danger of a Kael'thas or anything like that, because this last pick has to be a tank. You're not going to solo tank Zarya. So I think they're just deciding who they want here. Yeah, they did get us the veteran chest. I was surprised that happened, to be honest. And that's fine for me. I was already happy with all the free stuff I was getting. So more free stuff is all the better. And no surprising, Johanna selected. We said it was going to be Johanna Amurden, and it certainly was. So we are going to be off in about 5 seconds here for our game 3. Everybody has selected the hero they actually want to play because we can swap now. All right, for our decisive game 3 winner, moving on to the quarterfinals, we have the blue team, FTS, ARTHAS, played by Mal Bryan, Alarak, played by Hiram, Malfurion, played by Neuroterran, Darklink, playing GUL'DAN, and Anubarak, played by Zazu. The red team, the real ultimate mosh pit, features Dankstrom on Johanna, Rolf the Dog on Nazebo, Minra on Lucio, Judge Bread on Zarya, and P-Tom on Li Ming.
Heroes, prepare for combat.
So P-Tom in particular has really been on a number of different kinds of heroes, going from GREYMANE to Chromie to Li Ming, showing a real nice variety of his roster here.
Battle commencing in 10 seconds.
Lots of B-stepping going on from Trump. A little quieter here
5,
on
4,
FTS's side of the
3,
map.
2, 1. Let the battle begin.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Mitch. Veterans who are getting these chests are going to get a lot of shards out of the gate to get a lot of stuff they don't want. Alright, so here we are for the initial mid lane 5-on-5 skirmish. Not much damage going out from either side. They're content to dance around each other. And then at the end of this, I imagine we're going to get Alarak and Nazebo going in the top lane. No, ooh, pause. Looks like a red team needs a pause here. So, no true solo laner on the side of Trump. I would imagine it's going to have to be Nazebo going up there. Alarak is going to be the solo laner for FTS. Looks like FTS here having some lag DC issues, so just waiting for everybody to catch up, be on the same page, so we can continue with a very entertaining playoff series. Yeah, I did my math on it too, Nidus. I think I calculated, as of 3 days ago, I was going to get 69 chests, so I'm sure by the time it hits, I'll get to 70. The part that I was kind of chuckling about is so many people who I think were complaining about the 70 chest cap weren't actually at 70, because you have to play a lot of games to get that many chests, and not everybody has that many games in. But we'll see. It's basically just a pile of free stuff, and I can't complain about that. I agree with you, Mitch. I mean, for me, I already have most of what I want in the game as far as content goes. So all of this stuff for me is just icing on the cake. So anything I get is great. I may hold on. I'll probably hold on to the vast majority of my shards to get content when it comes out that I really want. Because everything that's in the game right now that I want, I pretty much have already. And that Prime Evil Diablo skin is really, really good. If I was any good at Diablo, I would absolutely grab it, but I am bad at Diablo. Still having some connectivity issues here. Yeah, you can't buy it unless it's featured, but you can buy it with shards at any time unless it's featured, is the way I understand it. So if, excuse me, my understanding is if it's featured, you can't craft it, and you can't buy it unless it's featured. If that makes sense. Uh-oh. What did I beat you to, Nidus? It looks like one of the player's computers just completely crashed down, and I'm not sure if we'll get him back up. That would be terrible, because I'd hate to have something like that happen in such a really fun series that we're kind of in the middle of here. Oh, now both teams having computer problems, so it might be a it might be an interesting game 3 here, as both teams currently having technical issues. Well, in the meantime, why we have one player whose computer completely crashed, and we have the other team that's saying, we need to move this along, my computer's overheating. So hopefully we get it all worked out. But right now we having issues. Okay, looks like we're going to be going here in a second. All right, I will be starting this up right back now. Alright, now we are back going here. Alarak has already resumed his position in the top lane, and as expected, Mizibo will join him for a party of 2 in the top. So Marl Bryan will attempt to intercept the rotation here, and members of Red Team content to just ignore him. I think Nazeebo will eventually win this, because Alarak just can't get in the way with all the poke damage from Nazeebo. So Nazeebo will slowly control the bottom lane. Marl Bryan being really aggressive on the rotations, and they may have caught P-Tom. GUL'DAN poison damage going low. P-Tom, goes down from the damage over time from GUL'DAN. Minra on Lucio just wasn't quite able to get to him in time. In the top, however, the advantage going to Alarak, securing the top objective.
Hero slain. Hero slain.
2 kills for FTS, both of which I missed. Dengstrom will poke this out. Unless they drive Dengstrom out of lane, they are not going to secure the DK, though. And I think FTS lost that opportunity, though, as both members have spawned. Dengstrom still has Iron Skin. He's going to hang out here a long time. This is one of the things that Johanna does so well in this mid lane. Is her blind can really interrupt the channel from really far away, and because she's so difficult to take down, she can really interrupt that mid channel single-handedly for a very long time. First Dragon Knight of the game taken by FTS. They're not going to get much more than this front wall. The first Dragon Knight is very weak. The delay Nidus is 2 minutes, 2-minute delay. So front wall goes down, and that's gonna be about it. The other advantage is they now have about a full level lead between the 3 kills and the early siege damage. FTS with the early game advantage. So FTS taking the early game advantage. Something I mentioned in draft, though, is between Lucio and Nazeebo, the late game will favor Trump. No doubt about it. So if this game gets to post 20 and it's close, I really think it's going to play to Trump's advantage. So both teams resuming their place in lane. Soaking the experience. Kind of a lull in the action right now. It looks like FTS will secure their siege giants, putting a little more pressure on the bottom lane. I will say in the early game, it looks like FTS has a wave clear advantage, and FTS has been playing that Bermuda Triangle beautifully. This little triangle of bushes here, Maul Brian on ARTHAS has just been ambushing anybody who rotates through it, and they've gotten 2 kills that way right there on the Zarya. Very aggressive positioning, and then they rotated on Nazeebo in the top lane. So in the early game here, FTS has their rotations. They have been absolutely on point. They now have over a full level lead, 5 kills to none, favoring FTS. You know, we didn't talk about it in the draft, but with 3 big beefy heroes, including an Anubarak, it's going to be very, very difficult for Li Ming to get any resets this game, especially down 2 levels. So FTS on the verge of their heroics here. This bottom fort is going to fall. Nothing Trump can do about it. First fort of the game goes down, and heroics are on the board for FTS. We have Army of the Dead for ARTHAS. What is Alarak's? Deadly Charge for Alarak, Twilight Dream for Malfurion, Horrify for GUL'DAN, and is that Locust Swarm? It is for Anubarak. So you have to assume that with level 10s and a 2-level lead, FTS wants to get this DK, and they'll be able to. Members of Trump might be in trouble here. ARTHAS is down there. He is holding Zarya in place. Zarya is going to go down, no doubt about it. Strong rotation. Members of Trump caught a little bit too far forward, and now ARTHAS is onto Lucio, and that E range. Ooh, Lucio would have fallen had that Howling Blast hit. So 2 members now rotating top. They're going to push Nazeebo off the point and secure this top objective. All that means is somebody needs to go mid for FTS to secure their second Dragon Knight of the game. They are pressing down here hard, despite the fact that they have no heroics with which to fight this. Aggressive Nazeebo does fall in the top lane. However, 4 versus 3 in the bottom with still no heroics. However, you can tell Trump is really prioritizing not allowing them to get the shrine. You have to figure without 10s though, they're going to lose this fight, but they're doing a nice job of clinging to this objective and not allowing them to secure the Dragon Knight. In the meantime, Alarak is split pushing in the top lane, I should say, and now we have a 4-on-4. Anubarak coming down to the flank. Zarya once again isolated out, held in position by ARTHAS, and has fallen one more time. This time, I don't think there will be any stopping FTS from getting their second Dragon Knight of the game. We do have heroics finally picked up for Trump, though. It's going to be Expulsion Zone from Zarya, Sound Barrier from Lucio, I believe that is Gargantuan from Nazeebo, and it is Disintegrate Being from Li Ming, and Johanna has yet to pick her heroic. So second Dragon Knight of the game, pushing hard in the mid-keep. Johanna still has not selected heroics yet. Oh, excuse me. And the second fort of the game will go down. A great expulsion zone from Zarya. Absolutely splits FTS in half. However, they just really weren't able to do much with it. Nazeebo is in the top lane. I'm trying to hold off ARTHAS. And Trump is really on their back foot right now. almost all of their level 1 structures are down. Only the top fort stands. And they are 2.5 levels down in experience. Really going aggressive here. What Trump really needs here, there's the deadly charge straight into the back line. Completely isolates out Zarya. Sound barrier does keep her alive, and Johanna just standing in the middle of the entire FTS team, and they just completely ignore her. She doesn't go down. There she is, auto-attacking, condemning. When this fight continues on, everybody pressure R buttons and nobody is dying. But for the first time this game, FTS on the retreat. So no kills secured by Trump, but maybe a moral victory in driving away FTS, if there is such a thing. So 3-level advantage here for FTS. They're going to invade this bruiser camp. I love this call from FTS. When you're a full talent here up like this, you really want to be aggressive and take the map. Nazebo caught in that aura of Arthas. He is able to get away, but just barely. The way Arthas is constructed nowadays, if you get caught in that aura of his, you simply cannot get away from him. It is so hard unless you have some kind of movement ability or escape mechanism. You just can't get away from him. And we've seen Zarya this game, been unable to get away from him. Nazebo had a very hard time getting away from him. And as we're watching this game play out, that triple melee and all of these big health pools from FTS was such a great counter to Li Ming, because if Li Ming does not get her resets, she does not get value out of her trait. And so far, zero resets from Li Ming, and that basically, you know, makes her not valuable at all. So right now, what does Trump do? Trump wants to keep all of their keeps up and drag this game kicking and screaming into the long game. Dive from Anubarak, trying to isolate out Li Ming. P-Tom does dodge the Howling Blast, however, too much DC to get to dodge all of it. Minra, once again, spot on with the heroics. The Ancestrals were good, the sound barriers were good, and in this case, the sound barrier got P-Tom out alive, and he is here continuing to participate. So the battle rages on. Trump fighting from behind, and now we have a 3-on-3, and this time Dengstrom is the one caught in Arthas. The root, however, onto Lucio. He is able to speed boost away, but not enough. Lucio will go down. I think Li Ming is going to be next, and she is. And this could be... Oh, the shields might get him out alive. Nope. This could be an absolute disaster for Trump. So Dengstrom does finally select his heroic, and it is Falling Sword, which he uses to get out alive. 2 more members down. 10 total kills from FTS. And Trump is in a lot of trouble. They are over 3 levels down, and they have a Dragon Knight bearing down on them, level 16 to level 13. Something needs to change very drastically here, or FTS is going to capture this game and this series here fairly soon. So Trump fighting very, very hard, doing everything they can to keep this keep alive. And that's a really great defense. That Dragon Knight is very low for only having taken out the front wall. So far, really, really stout defense here for Trump, fighting every inch of this. There's the expulsion zone, and there's the Falling Sword. So Dengstrom is on the back line. Zarya does go down. Both front lines were on the other team's back line. However, with such a huge level lead, that is going to favor FTS. Johanna goes down. We are getting close to a winning condition here for FTS. First keep of the game down, and still 2 members dead, and Li Ming is not dead, but Lucio is. FTS making the core call. This is going to be close, but I think they will have it. Shields now down, 90%, 80. Not all members up. Arthas is very low. Core now at 40%. Arthas is the first to fall. However, Core 25%. Alarak goes down 10%, 5. And a 13-minute, absolutely convincing win. I really think the decision to go triple melee there in the draft won that game. Li Ming just was not able to be effective with her damage because of how many hit points there were for her to hit. She never got a reset. She was never able to proc her trait, which is when Li Ming really carries, when she can get reset after reset after reset. And a very entertaining series that ultimately FTS able to secure the win 2-1 over the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit. Congratulations to them. They are moving on to the quarterfinals next week. And as you can see above my head now, that will be my next cast next Thursday. Division 1 quarterfinals, Dunning-Kruger Knights versus Do It Right. So be sure to tune in for that. Congratulations to Trump on a really great season and a hard-fought game tonight. And a bigger congratulations to FTS advancing to the Division 2 quarterfinals. Looking forward to watching you guys go forward. So thanks to both teams for letting me cast. Really appreciate it. I normally would have stolen this idea from Denkstrom and would do a post-matchup interview, but my Discord is acting up and I didn't have time to get it straightened out. So thanks again to both teams for letting me cast. Thanks to everybody for tuning in to a very entertaining series. Everyone have a wonderful night. Be sure to tune into my cast next week, and we'll see you around the Nexus.